I am back again for the third time, and I had some technical difficulties. But this time, well, this will work. I think that I want to hate it. Yeah. Life speed. Yeah. Not quite. Okay. So, what do you guys want to talk about now? Yeah, I can't really get the game to work. Yeah, I haven't been talking because I was trying to get this thing to work, the game to work, but it hasn't been working. Uh, There, I'm back. It's been a boring stream. Hmm. Nova, looks like nobody else came. I'm not gonna try to play Maple Story anymore for right now. Just gonna chill. Probably tell some scary stories from the internet if you like. Yeah, there's probably a lot of good scary stories out there I could read. Alright, yeah, and turn off display capture. Right there. Alright, Poisonlet, are you still there? There's so many stories to read. Not sure which one to listen to, well, to read. I want to read one of the famous ones. Yes, famous creepypastas. Hey, there's two more people there. Hey, what's up? We're just here trying to read creepypastas, and I'm currently reading Thin Drown. I'm just gonna rearrange some stuff here. No, I need to rearrange the shelf. Game capture. Yes, myself. And we'll have that back. There. Yeah, we are back. Probably have a cracker. Let's put on new music. I would like to continue with the MapleStory gameplay, but I might need to adjust some stuff. Until then, we're just gonna do creepypastas for now. New playlist. Is music too loud? December 19th, 2017 begins, and in today's death, murder, and disappearance famous. Wait, that's not the story. No. We can begin with the story now. Start the music over. Ben Drown Part 1, Day 4. Okay, I need your help with this. This is not a creepypasta. This is a long read, but I feel like my safety or well-being could very well depend on this. This is a video game related specifically Majora's Mask. And this is the creepiest shit that I have ever happened to me in my entire life. Having said that, I recently moved into my dorm room starting as a sophomore in college, and a friend of mine gave me his own Nintendo 64 to play, as I so to say, at least. I could finally play all of those old games of my youth that I haven't touched in at least a decade. His Nintendo 64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shitty copy of Super Smash Brothers. And while beggars can't be choosers, needless to say, it didn't take long until I became bored of beating up level 9 CPUs. This weekend, I decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off campus, hitting up the local garage sales, hoping to score on good deals from ignorant parents. I ended up picking up a good Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, fuck yeah, F-Zero, and two other controllers for $2 satisfied, I began to drive out of the neighborhood when at least one house caught my attention. I still I still have no idea why why it did. There was no cars there, and only one table was set up with random junk in it, but something sort of drew me there. I usually trust my gut in those things as I got out of those out of those the cars and I was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was of for lack of better words displeasing. It was it was odd. But if you ask me to tell you why I think he was displeasing, I can't really pinpoint anything. There was just something about him that puts me on edge. I can't explain it. All I can tell you is that if I wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there was other people within shouting distance, I would not have even thought of approaching this man. He flashed a crooked smile at me and asked what I was looking for. Immediately I noticed that he must have been blind in one of his eyes. His right eye had the glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look at his left eye instead, trying not to offend, and asked him if he had an old video game. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation when he would tell me he had no idea what video game was, but to my surprise, he said that he had a few ones in old box. He assured me he'd be back in a jiffy and turned to head back into a garage as I watched him hobble away. I could help. I couldn't help but notice what he was selling in his table. Littered across his table was rather particular painting, various artworks that looked like ink blocks, like a psychiatrist might show you. Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. Those were exactly aesthetically pleasing as I came to the last one. For some reason it looked almost like Majora's Mask, the same heart-shaped body with the little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I just thought that since I was secretly hoping to find that game at the garage sale, some hidden bullshit was projecting itself into the ink blocks. But given the events that happened afterwards, I'm not sure now. I shouldn't have asked the man about it. I wish I would have asked the man about it. After staring at the Majora shaped block, I looked up and the old man was suddenly there. again, arm length in front of me, smiling at me. I'll admit I jumped out of reflex, and I laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was a standard gray color, except that someone had written Majora on its black permanent marker. I got butterflies in my stomach as I realized what a coincidence that was, and I asked him how much he wanted for it. The old man smiled at me and told me that I could have it for free. It was used to belong to a kid who was about my age that didn't live here anymore. There was something weird about how the man phrased that, but I didn't really pay any attention to them. I was too caught up in not only finding the game but getting it for free. I remember I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since this looked like a pretty shady cartridge and there was no guarantee it it would work. But then the optimist inside of me interjected that maybe it was some kind of beta version, a pirated version of the game, and it was all in needed to be back in Cloud 9. I thanked the man, and the man smiled at me and wished me well, saying goodbye then. At least that's what it sounded like to me all the way in the car ride home. I had nagging doubts that the man had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it works just fine, and there was one save file named simply Ben. Goodbye, Ben. He was saying goodbye, Ben. I felt bad for the man, obviously a grandparent, and obviously going senile, and I, for some reason or another, remember him of his grandson then. Reminded him of his reminded him of his grandson then. Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file. Eyeballing it, I could tell that he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all of the mask and 3 to 4 remains of the bosses. I noticed that he had used an owl statue to save the game. He was on day 3 and by the stone tower temple, with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was a shame that he had came so close to beating the game, but he never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of the tradition and started the game, ready to relive my childhood. For such a shady looking game cartridge, I was impressed with how smoothly it ran, literally. Just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups there and here and there, like textures being where they shouldn't be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, and Nothing too bad. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that the time the NPC would call me Link, and at times they would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a flick in the program causing our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out though, after a while, and it was around after I had beaten the Woodfall temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted them. I had intended to preserve the files that just out of respect of the game original owner. It's not like I needed two files anyway. Hope, hoping that would solve the problem. It did and didn't. Now NPC wouldn't call me anything. There's there my name shouldn't be, and the dialogue there was just a blank space. My save file name was just still called Link. Though my frustrated and with no homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing the game again last night, getting the lens of truth and working for a way towards completing the Snowhead Temple now. Some of you are more hardcore Majora's Mask players now. About the fourth day glitch, for those who don't know, can Google it, but
Taco Bell chalupa, so chewy, so flaky.
hardcore Majora's Mask players Hardcore Majora's Mask players know that the fourth day glitch. For those who don't know, can Google it. But the gist of it is that right as the clock is about to hit 000000, and the final day, you can talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope as if you time it right, the countdown disappears. And you essentially have another day to finish whatever you were doing, deciding to do the glitch to try and finish this Snowhead Temple. I have happened to get it right on the first try, and time counter on the bottom disappeared. However, when I pressed B to exit telescope instead of being greeted with the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora's boss fight room. And the end of the game, the trippy box in the area started at Skull Kids hovering above me. There was no sound, just him hovering in the air above me. And the background music, which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat, and there was definitely not normal. Skull Kids never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, and no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen, and this keep up for around 60 seconds. I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach for the reset button, but then the text appeared on my screen. You're not sure why. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a revision. I instantly recognized that text. you get that message when you get the room key from the NG at the stock pot in, but you, why was it playing for? I refuse to I refuse to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started to navigate the room again, testing to see if that was some sort of trigger that enabled me to interact with something here. Then I realized how stupid I was to even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on the screen, and again, like the first one, it was already a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple boss. Yes, no. I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press and how the game would react, and I realized that I couldn't select no. Taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white. Then the words "Dawn of a New Day" with the subtext beneath it. There was a ported to fill me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I have ever experienced. The only way I can describe the way I feel here was having this feeling of inexplainable depression on a undefined scale. I am normally not a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't even knew existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that seems to wash over me. I I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone. I appeared in some weird Twilight Zone version of Tower. Clock Clock Town. I walked out of the clock town as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that all of the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the day fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dogs that run around outside the tower. This time they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling that there was something out there, in the same area as me, and that it was watching me. I had four hearts to my name and the hero bow button and the hero's bow, but at this point I wasn't even considered for my avatar. I felt that I personally was in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was the song of healing, ripped straight from the games itself, but played in reverse. The game would get louder, butting up so as if you should expect something to pop out at you, but nothing ever did, and the consistent loop begins to wear on my mental state. Every now and then I would hear the faint tap of the happy masked salesman in the background just quite enough so that I wasn't sure if I just heard if I just hearing things but just loud enough to keep me determined to find them. I looked in all four zones in the clock town only to find nothing. No more textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking in air. The entire area felt broken. If I was just hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find them. I looked in all four zones of Clocktown only to find nothing. No one textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking in air. The entire area felt broken, hopelessly broken as the reverse song of feeling repeated for what must have been the 50th time. I just remembered standing in the middle of the South Clock town, realizing that I had never felt as alone in a video game before. Kinda lost my place in the story. Gotta go back. Oh, alright. I think this is the part where I am. No limits. Yeah. Hmm. A little bit further down. Alright. As I walk through the ghost town, as I walk through the no, as I walk through the ghost town, I don't know whether it was a combination of out of place textures and the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted, but I was literally on the verge of tears and had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me in a powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I, I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black and I would just zone to another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I would I wanted to escape and I did not want to be here. But every time I played the time song of time or song of the soaring, it would only say your note of echo far, but nothing happened. But this point it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave, but I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I didn't want to go inside of the building. I felt that I would be too vulnerable. There was whatever there there to whatever I was terrified of. I didn't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself in a laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that when I that when it happened, Link grabbed his head and the screen flashed for a brief moment, and the happy masked salesman smiled, smiling at me. Not Link, me with the Skull Kids scream playing in the background. And when the scream remained, I was staring at the Link statue from playing the song of Elgin of emptiness. I screamed at the thing just staring back at me with that haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out and back to the South Clock Town. And to my horror, the fucking statue followed me. And the only way I could compare this is like the weeping angel from Doctor Who. Every so often at the random intervals, the animation would play out the statues appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or I don't even want to fucking say it, haunting me. Know why I was wrapped up in it. The terror felt so real I tried to shake the statue, but it was literally appearing right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations I have never ever seen to do before. He had fell, flail, fell. His arms around our spasm randomly, and the screen would cut to the Happy Mask salesman smiling again for a brief moment before I was face to face with the fucking statue again. I ended up running into the Swords Master dojo and ran into them back again. I didn't know why, but in a panic, I just wanted some kind of insurance that I was not alone here. To my dismay, I found out no one, but as I turned out to leave, the statue cornered me and the chubby, me and the QB in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail, confused and back into the corner. I just stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me. Suddenly, the screen flashes again to the Happy Mask salesman, and Link turned me to face my screen, standing upright, clearing the statue, looking at me along with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while I ran out of the dojo terrified. Suddenly the game warped me to an underground tunnel, and the reverse song of healing queued up again as I was given a brief moment of respite before the statue started appearing behind me again, this time aggressively. I could only take a few steps before it would summon behind me again. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and appeared in southern Clock Town as I ran aimlessly in sheer panic. Suddenly, I redid, screamed, and the screen faded to black as dawn of a new day, and appeared again. The screen faded, and I was standing on top of the clock tower, Skull Kid hovering over me again, silent. I looked up, and the moon was back, looming just meters above my head, but the Skull Kid just stared at me hauntingly with that fucking mask. A new song was playing, the Stone Tower Temple theme in reverse. In some sort of desperate attempt, I equipped my bow and fired off the shot of the Skull Kid, and it actually hit him, and he played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, a text box appeared saying won't, that won't do you any good, hee hee. And as I was picked off the ground, levitated towards and my back, then Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing him. I jumped when this happened. I had never seen this move used by anyone in the game, and Skull Kid himself don't have any moves as the death screen played. My life Link's body still burning. The Skull Kid laughed, and the screen faded to black, only to have me reappear in the same place. I decided to change him, but the same time happened. Link, Link's body was littered off the ground by some unknown force, and he immediately burst into flames again, killing him this time during the death screen. The faint sounds of the reverse song of healing could be heard. On the third and final try, I noticed that there was no music playing, and this time that all there was eerie silence. I remember that the original encounter of the Skull Kid, you were supposed to use the ocarina to either travel back in time or summon the giants. I attempted to play the Song of Time before I could hit the last note. Link's body once again horrifically explodes into flames and he died. As the death screen neared its end, it begins to chug as the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something. Then the screen came to. It was the same scene as the first three times, except this time Link was lying on the ground dead in a position I had never seen in a game before. His head tilted towards the camera, with the Skull Kid floating above him. I couldn't move, I couldn't press any buttons. All I could do was just stare at Link's dead body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game simply fades out of the message, "You met a terrible fate, haven't you?" before kicking you out of the title screen. Upon getting back into the title screen and starting again, you save I noticed my save file was no longer there. Instead of Link, there was replaced with your turn, had 3 hearts, 0 mask, and no items. I select your turn, and immediately when I did, I was item select. I was returned to the clock tower rooftop scene of my Link dead and Skull Kid hovering over, with the Skull Kid laughing, looping again and again. I quickly hit the reset button, and then the game booted up again. There was more save files added below your turn, entitled bin save file, and right back where it was before I deleted. At the stone tower template with the moon almost crashing. I turned the game off at the point. I'm not superstitious, but this is a way too fucked up, even for me. I haven't played it at all today. Hell, I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing reverse song of healing music in my head, and just keep remembering the sense of dread I felt exploring Clocktown. I drove back to the old man's house today to ask him some questions about a buddy of mine. No way I was going there alone. Only to find there was a for sale sign in the front of the yard. Then I rang the door. No one's home. So now I'm back. So now I'm back here, writing down the rest of my thoughts and recording what happened. Sorry if some of this was grammatically grammatically errors and whatnot. I'm running on no sleep here. I'm terrified of the game. No one knows how. No one's no. No one know. Even even more so now that I relived it the second time. Writing this all down, but I feel like there's still more to it than meets the eye, and that there's something calling to me to investigate this further. I think Ben is something to this equation, but I don't know what. And if I could get a hold of this old man, even if then I would be able to find some answers. I need I need another day or so to recuperate before tackling this game again. It's already taking a toll on my sanity. I feel like the next time I do this, the next time I do this, I'm going to be recording my footage all of the way through. The ideas to record only came to me towards the end as you see the last minute of what I saw, including Skull Kid and the LOG statue, but it's on YouTube here. I'm gonna stay in this thread for a little while longer before I fall asleep to answer any questions you guys might have, or hopefully listen to your ideas or theories to help me shed some light into this, or maybe things I should try to do. I think I'm going to play Ben's file tomorrow, see what happens. Maybe I was supposed to what do that all along. I don't believe in paranormal shit, but this is a little fucked up. But maybe this Ben guy is just really good hacker programmer. I don't want to think about the alternatives if he's isn't. That's the end of the creepypasta, guys. Yeah. It's a, uh, wait, is it? Yeah. I think there's a part two of this. I guess we can read part two. Ben Drown, part two. Ben. I'll probably tell part two another day. But if you're still watching, thank you for checking out the stream. Check out that like, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Hello, we're at the end of the stream.